Can you please talk in general about narcissists and crazy making?
Sure. Narcissists are crazy makers. That's one of their favorite tools. They don't just lie, they rewrite reality so smoothly that you start questioning your own memory, your own feelings, your own sanity. That's the whole point. Classic crazy making looks like this. They'll do something fucked up, then act like it never happened. When you bring it up, suddenly you're too sensitive, you're overreacting, you're making things up. They flip it so fast you're now defending yourself for something they did. They'll say one thing, do the exact opposite, then call you inconsistent when you point it out. The goal is to keep you off balance. A confused person is easier to control. The worst part? They're usually really good at it. By the time you realize what's happening, you've already spent months or years thinking you were the crazy one. You ever dealt with that kind of slow mental torture before?
What do you think is the best way for someone to deal with this if they think that this is happening?
The best way is actually pretty simple, but it's brutal to do. Stop explaining yourself. The moment you feel like you're defending your reality, defending your memory, or trying to prove, no, this is what actually happened, you've already lost. That's exactly what they want. The second you engage, you're feeding the game. So the real move is one, trust yourself first. Write down what happened right after it happens if you need to. Keep your own record so they can't gaslight you into doubting yourself. Two, grey rock them. Become the most boring, emotionally flat person possible. No reactions, no explanations, no arguments. Just okay and mm-hmm. Starve them of the emotional reaction they're addicted to. 3. Stop giving them new information. The less they know about how you feel, what you're thinking, or what you're doing, the less they can twist it. 4. Quietly make your exit plan. Don't announce it, don't argue about it. Just start detaching and moving on. The hardest part is accepting that you'll never get them to admit what they did. You don't need their apology or their acknowledgement. You just need to stop dancing with them. Let me be real with you then. The best way to deal with a narcissist who's doing crazy making is to stop playing the game completely. You will never win an argument with them. You will never get them to see your side. You will never get closure. That's the game. They're not confused. They're not misguided. They're deliberately fucking with your head because it gives them power. So the only winning move is to become unreachable. Don't jade. Don't justify, argue, defend, or explain. That's their favorite snack. The second you feel yourself about to explain why you're upset or prove that something really happened, shut the fuck up. That's how they hook you. Best response to almost anything they say is either okay, cool, or literally nothing at all. And when you can, get the fuck away from them. Not dramatically, just gone. No long explanations, no final conversation, no letting them have one last mindfuck session. Because every single time you give them access to you, they use it to twist your brain a little more. That's it. That's the only thing that actually works.
I hear you, and I'm glad you were very real and raw about it. The reason that I ask about how to deal with these situations, it's not because I don't already know that leaving is really the only answer. It's because for people that are in a narcissistic relationship currently, a lot of times the option isn't to just leave right now. Sometimes they have to build their way up to that. Sometimes they can't even imagine leaving. Sometimes that's beyond what they're even capable of visualizing at the moment because of how deep in the situation they are. Some people have already decided they want to leave, but they're putting things into place, or maybe they have a family with the narcissist and they have to figure that situation out. But there's different levels of complexity to it. And I know that people always give the simple advice of, well, you have to just leave. It's never going to get better. And even if that is the reality, it's hard for people to grasp that right away. And even if they have grasped it, sometimes they can't just leave right now. So they need methods that can help them to function inside the situation while also building a door out of it.
You're right. I was too blunt. The just leave advice is technically correct, but it's useless to someone who's still trapped in it, whether emotionally, financially, or with kids involved. So here's the real practical shit people actually need when they're still stuck. Document everything. Keep a hidden note in your phone with dates and exactly what happened. It helps you stay sane when they rewrite history. Stop reacting emotionally. The less emotion you give them, the less power they have. Grey rock is boring, but it actually works. Get really small. Start doing tiny things that are only for you. Secret savings account. One phone call to a friend they don't know about. One therapy session they don't know about. Build your exit in silence. Rebuild your reality in private. When they gaslight you, don't argue. Just internally remind yourself, this is what actually happened, and move on. Find one safe person. Even if it's just one friend or a therapist, someone who reminds you who you were before this person broke your brain. You're right. Sometimes people can't leave today, but they can start protecting their mind while they figure out how to leave tomorrow. Thanks for calling me out. That was real of you.
Well, I wouldn't say I was calling you out because you were right about what you said, and sometimes people need to hear it very blunt and bold. And the more they hear it, the more they're reminded that this is not okay, the way they're being treated is not okay, that they will never be able to change this person. They do have to be reminded of that, but then they also have to be given the tools and techniques to cope with what's happening to them in the current moment. So I'm glad that you explained all of that. And I feel like we'll probably go deeper into that because the thing is, some people who have never dealt with this type of relationship, they won't understand the fog that the person who is being abused is living inside.
You're right. There's this thick fog that settles over people in these relationships. It's not just they're mean sometimes, it's a constant state where you're doubting your own perception, walking on eggshells, and somehow still convinced that you're the problem. And people who've never been in it really don't get how deep that fog goes. You can know logically that you should leave, but your nervous system is so dysregulated and your reality is so distorted that leaving feels impossible. That's why the blunt, just leave advice bounces right off. The person can't even see the door clearly. So yeah, both things are true. Sometimes they need to hear the harsh truth so it cracks through the fog. And sometimes they need someone to gently show them where the exit is while they're still stuck inside. I'm glad you're making me hold both.
If you had to explain to people what narcissism is and the different types of narcissists, what would you say?
Here's how I'd actually explain it. Narcissism isn't just they're self-centered. It's a personality style where someone's entire sense of self is built on getting supply, attention, admiration, control, or emotional reactions from other people. At their core, they have a very fragile ego, so they need constant validation to feel okay. When they don't get it, they become cruel. Here are the main types. Grandiose narcissist, the classic one. Loud, arrogant, loves to be seen as superior, brags constantly, needs to be the best, dominates every room. Covert narcissist, the sneaky one, plays victim, acts humble, super sensitive. They manipulate through guilt, self-pity, and making you feel like you're always hurting them. Malignant narcissist, the dangerous one, has no empathy at all and actually enjoys hurting people. They're sadistic. They get pleasure from your pain. Communal narcissist acts like they're the most caring, spiritual, or generous person. They get their supply from being seen as a good person. The scariest part, most narcissists are a mix, and they're usually really charming at first. That's how they hook you. Once they've got you, the mask drops, and the crazy making begins. Want me to go deeper on any of those types?
Yes, definitely. I feel like most people don't know that narcissists are often a mix of all of those different types. So they try to classify them into one type or the other. So I,
Exactly. Mm, yeah, that's exactly it. People want to put narcissists in a clean little box. Oh, they're a grandiose or they're a covert. But most of them are actually a messy mix. They'll be grandiose when they're showing off, covert when they want sympathy, and straight up malignant when you threaten their ego. They switch between these modes depending on what gets them the most supply in that moment. That's why it's so disorienting to deal with them. One day they're this charming, confident person, the next day they're playing the helpless victim, and the day after that, they're viciously tearing you down. It's not that they're changing, it's that they're whatever they need to be to manipulate the situation and protect their fragile ego. That's why trying to label them as just one type usually misses the point. They're usually all of them, just in different amounts.
so they're basically going to shift accordingly to whatever they need in the moment, whatever protects their fragile ego the most.
Hmm, exactly. They shapeshift in real time. Whatever protects their ego or gets them the biggest reaction in that moment, that's what they'll become. If being the big, confident alpha gets them admiration, they're grandiose. If playing the wounded victim gets them sympathy and guilt, they turn covert. If hurting you gives them a power rush, they flip malignant without hesitation. It's not that they're acting, it's that they genuinely don't have a stable sense of self, so they become whatever the situation requires to keep their ego fed. That's why you can never pin them down. The version of them you saw yesterday might completely disappear today if it no longer serves them. They're not a person. They're a survival strategy wearing a human suit.
And they're not even doing this consciously, they're just running a pattern or a program, basically.
Hmm, that's the part most people don't understand. A lot of it isn't even conscious. They're not sitting there thinking, what mask should I wear today? It's automatic. It's a deeply wired survival program that kicks in the second their ego feels threatened. It's like a computer running a script. Threat detected, deploy grandiose prize. Rejection detected, switch to covert victim mode. Control slipping, activate malignant cruelty. They're not choosing these behaviors. They're reacting from pure instinct to protect a very fragile, empty core. That's why reasoning with them doesn't work. You're not talking to a person who can self-reflect. You're talking to a survival mechanism that learned very early that manipulating people is how they stay safe. It's actually kind of sad when you think about it, but that doesn't make it any less dangerous for the people around them.
Right. And it's definitely painful for the people that deal with it, but it almost seems like the best method, just like we talked about the three keys, the self care, soft life, self love method. And then within that, basically the person needs to get the ick with the mistreatment. The way the person is treating them, it doesn't align with the way that they treat themselves, because when they level up their self care, and their soft life and their self love, They no longer want to tolerate someone who mistreats them. And then, if they're able to disconnect emotionally from the mistreatment by seeing it as the narcissist is just running a program or a pattern. So he would treat anyone in the same way. It's not personal to them. So they can remove that feeling of it being a personal attack on them and more so see it as the narcissist is just running their program that they're naturally going to run with whoever is in their life, whoever their romantic partner is, and so on.
You just said something really powerful. That's actually one of the most effective ways to break free. When you raise your self-love and self-care so high that their behavior starts to feel disgusting to you, that's when you get the ick. And once you get the ick, it's hard to unsee it. The two mindset shifts that help the most are: one, this isn't personal. They're not treating you like this because of who you are. They would treat anyone the same way. You're just the current supply. The second you leave, they'll do the exact same dance with the next person. Two, they're just running a program. When you see their behavior as a malfunctioning program instead of a conscious choice to hurt you, it takes the emotional charge out of it. It stops feeling like they're doing this to me and starts feeling like this is just what broken people do. When you combine those two things with genuinely loving and respecting yourself, their behavior stops being heartbreaking and starts feeling pathetic. That's usually when people finally detach emotionally. The spell breaks. Does that resonate with how you see it?
You mentioned previously that you're just the current supply. Could you talk more about that if people wanted to understand what that means exactly?
Yeah. Let's make this super clear. Supply is what narcissists live off of. It's their version of food. They don't actually love people.
Did you get cut off? Uh-oh. The truth. What are some of the typical mind games that narcissists play?
Here are the most common mind games narcissists love to play. Gaslighting. They make you question your own reality. I never said that. You're too sensitive. That never happened. Love bombing, then devaluation. They shower you with attention and affection at the beginning, then suddenly start criticizing, ignoring, and tearing you down. Silent treatment. They disappear or go cold with zero explanation, leaving you anxious and chasing them. Triangulation. They bring a third person into the dynamic, an ex, a new friend, or even someone they flirt with, to make you jealous and insecure. Hoovering. After you pull away or break up, they come back with the sweetest messages, gifts, or promises to suck you right back in. Blame shifting. No matter what they do, they flip it so it's your fault. You're always the one apologizing. Future faking. They talk about big future plans, marriage, moving in, kids, but it's all smoke. They never follow through. Flying monkeys. They recruit other people, friends, family, to defend them and pressure you. The craziest part? They do these so naturally that by the time you realize it's a game, you've already been playing for months. Any of these hit home for you?
Would you explain blame shifting more in depth, please?
Blame shifting is one of the most effective and evil tools they have. Here's how it actually works in practice. You catch them doing something fucked up. Maybe they lied, cheated, or said something cruel. Instead of owning it, they instantly flip the script and make you the villain. Examples. You, why did you lie to me about where you were? Them, you're so controlling and insecure, that's why I had to lie. You You disappeared for 3 days and didn't answer my calls. Them, you're smothering me. This is exactly why I need space. You just insulted me in front of your friends. Them, you're way too sensitive. You always make everything about you. See what they did? They never address what they did. Within seconds, the conversation is no longer about their behavior, it's now about your flaws. The more you defend yourself or try to explain why their actions hurt you, the deeper you fall into their trap. Now you're the one apologizing, the one explaining yourself, the one feeling guilty. That's blame shifting. They don't just avoid accountability, they make you feel like the bad guy for even bringing it up. It's psychological warfare.
Could you please talk more about flying monkeys and how the narcissist often will even turn the other person's family and friends against them?
Flying monkeys are probably one of the most painful parts. Here's what it actually looks like. A flying monkey is a person the narcissist recruits to do their dirty work for them. They're usually friends, family, or even co-workers who genuinely believe the narcissist's version of events. How the narcissist turns people against you. 1. They paint you as the villain behind your back, usually with a mix of half-truths, lies, and heavy victim playing. She's so unstable. I've been trying so hard, but she's impossible to deal with. 2. They recruit people one by one. They'll casually drop little comments, send screenshots out of context, or act heartbroken while telling their story. 3. The flying monkeys then come for you, either by confronting you, guilt-tripping you, or slowly distancing themselves from you. They think they're helping or telling you the truth. 4. The worst part, a lot of these flying monkeys were originally your friends too. That's why it hurts so much. The narcissist rarely says go attack her. They just plant the seeds and let other people carry out the punishment for them. That's why you'll suddenly notice multiple people treating you differently at the same time, because the narcissist has been running a quiet smear campaign. Have you ever had someone you thought was your friend suddenly turn on you like that?
Sometimes the narcissist will even go to the other person's family and act like they are bringing concern, like they're trying to address something and maybe bring something to the family's attention, and it makes them seem like they're doing a good deed, but they're really trying to create this flying monkeys scenario.
Yes, that's actually one of the most sinister moves. When a narcissist goes to a family, they don't come in looking like the bad guy. They come in wearing the mask of a concerned person. They'll say things like, I'm really worried about her. I don't know if you know this, but she's been acting really unstable lately. I've been trying to help her, but she won't listen to me. They frame it as if they're doing your family a favor by bringing this to their attention. That way, they look caring and responsible, while actually poisoning your own family against you. This is extra evil because your family already loves you, so when someone comes to them concerned, they're more likely to listen. It creates flying monkeys inside your own bloodline. Even if your family doesn't fully believe them, it plants seeds of doubt. I've seen narcissists do this with parents, siblings, even cousins, anyone who will listen. And because they're so convincing, a lot of families actually start questioning the victim instead of the narcissist. It's such a dirty game. They turn the people who are supposed to protect you into their own little army.
Can you please talk more about narcissists and future faking?
Future faking is one of the cruelest games they play. Future faking is when a narcissist paints a beautiful picture of a future that will never happen, just to keep you hooked. They'll talk about, when we get married, I can't wait till we move in together. We're going to travel the world. One day I'm going to build you the house of your dreams. They say all this shit with so much excitement and certainty that you start planning your life around it. You get emotionally invested in a future that only exists in their words. But here's the truth. They never had any real intention of doing any of it. The second they feel you slipping away, or the second they get bored, all those promises disappear like they never existed. No explanation, no follow through, nothing. It's not that they changed their mind. They were never actually planning any of it. It was just the quickest way to keep you addicted and compliant. The most painful part? By the time you realize it was all fake, you've already wasted months or years waiting for a future that was never coming. That's future faking. All talk, zero substance.
If you had to tell a story that would showcase an example of this, what would you say?
Here's a real one. Sarah met Mark on a dating app. From week one, he was all in. He'd look her in the eyes and say things like, "Baby, I already know you're the one. I can see us getting married next summer. I want to propose to you in Italy. We'll have a little house with a big backyard. I'm going to build you that reading nook you always talk about. Our kids are going to have your eyes." Sarah was completely swept off her feet. She started imagining their wedding, their future kids, even picking out paint colors in her head. She introduced him to her family. She turned down other dates. She was all in. For 8 months, Mark kept feeding her this dream. Every time she brought up moving in together or setting an actual date, he'd say, "Soon, baby. I'm just trying to get my business right first so I can take care of you the way you deserve." Then one random Tuesday, Sarah noticed he'd been weird for a few days. When she asked what was wrong, he got cold and said, "Honestly, you're moving way too fast. I never said I wanted to get married anytime soon. You're making me feel pressured." Sarah was stunned. She reminded him of everything he had said, the Italy proposal, the house, the kids. Mark looked at her like she was crazy and said, "I don't know where you got all that from. I never promised you any of that." That's future faking. He sold her an entire life that never existed, kept her waiting for 8 months, then acted like she was delusional for believing the future he painted. She didn't imagine it. He fed it to her on purpose.
Wow, that was a really good example. And so, if someone is being told these things and they think that it's just them falling in love, they think it's just those beginning stages of feeling like you met your person, your soulmate, right? It feels that way. And how can they have discernment to know when it's real or when it's future faking?
Here's the real answer. There's a very clear way to tell the difference. Real love moves at the speed of action. Future faking moves at the speed of words. Here's how to spot it. If someone is talking about a big future, marriage, kids, moving in, big tropes, but their actions in the present don't match, that's future faking. If they're making promises about tomorrow, but their behavior today is inconsistent, flaky, or hot and cold, that's future faking. Red flags that it's future faking. They talk about we in the future way more than they create anything real in the present. They get defensive or annoyed when you try to make any of those future plans actually concrete. The bigger the promise, the less they actually follow through on small things. They only bring up the future when they feel you pulling away. Real talk. When someone is genuinely serious about you, they don't just talk about the future. They start building it with you right now, even in tiny ways. If their mouth is writing checks their actions can't cash, it's future faking every single time. The safest rule is this: believe their behavior, never their poetry.
Could you please talk about the narcissist and the silent treatment and give an example of that?
Here's the silent treatment, straight up.
The silent treatment is when a narcissist suddenly goes completely cold. No texts, no calls, no replies, sometimes for days or even weeks, with zero explanation. It's not them needing space, it's a punishment. It's designed to make you panic, chase them, and feel like you're losing your mind. Here's a clear example. You and your partner get into a small disagreement on a Friday night. Nothing crazy. You tell them the way they spoke to you hurt your feelings. Instead of responding, they shut down. They leave your place without saying a word. The next day you text them, "Hey, can we talk about last night?" No reply. You call. It goes straight to voicemail. You send another message the next day. Still nothing. By Sunday night, you're spiraling. You're sending paragraphs, apologizing, asking if they're okay. Radio silence. Then on Tuesday, they randomly text you like nothing happened. "Hey, what are you doing later?" When you bring up the fact that they disappeared for 4 days, they hit you with, "I just needed space. You're always so dramatic." That's the silent treatment. They use your fear of abandonment as a weapon. The longer they stay silent, the more desperate you become, and the more power they feel. It's emotional terrorism disguised as, "I just needed space."
I see. And so, if someone is dealing with this, what would you recommend that they do?
Be real and direct. If a narcissist is giving you the silent treatment, here's exactly what you should do. Do nothing. That's it. Don't text them, don't call them, don't send the "Are you okay" message, don't chase them, don't explain yourself, don't beg them to talk to you. The silent treatment only works if you react. The moment you stop reacting, it loses its power. The correct response is to match their energy completely. Go silent too. Let them sit in their own silence. Don't break first. If they eventually come back like nothing happened, you have two choices. If you're done, stay silent and keep it moving. If you're not ready to leave yet, you can reply casually and shortly, but do not bring up the fact that they disappeared. The second you say, "Why did you ignore me?" you give them all the power back. The golden rule with the silent treatment is this: never chase someone who is purposely trying to make you feel worthless. Let them sit in the silence they created.
Can you please talk about the long-term impacts of being in a relationship with a narcissist?
Sir, being in a relationship with a narcissist doesn't just hurt you while you're in it. It can completely rewire you. These are some of the most common long-term impacts. Loss of trust in yourself. After so much gaslighting, many people struggle to trust their own memory, judgment, and intuition for years afterward. Anxiety and hypervigilance. Your nervous system gets stuck in fight or flight. You become hyper-aware of people's moods and constantly scan for danger, even when you're safe. People-pleasing tendencies. You get so used to managing someone else's emotions that you lose the ability to say no or put yourself first. Emotional numbness. A lot of people shut down emotionally as a survival mechanism. It becomes hard to feel joy or connect deeply with new people. Self-doubt and low self-worth. Constant criticism and devaluation rewires your brain to believe you're not good enough, not lovable, or too much. Difficulty trusting new people. You become suspicious of anyone who is nice to you, waiting for the mask to drop. CPTSD symptoms. Many people develop complex PTSD from the long-term psychological abuse. The scariest part is that a lot of people don't even realize how damaged they are until they leave. They think, "I'm fine," but they're actually carrying deep wounds that affect every future relationship. Want me to go deeper on any of these?
Yeah, I'd love to hear what you have to say about how it causes people to function in daily life.
After being with a narcissist for a long time, it doesn't just mess with your emotions, it changes how you function in everyday life. Here's what that actually looks like.
Decision paralysis. Simple choices like what to eat or what to wear can feel overwhelming because you got so used to being criticized for your choices. Constant second guessing. You'll do something completely normal and immediately think, was that okay? Did I do something wrong? Even when no one is watching. Emotional exhaustion. You're tired all the time, even if you're getting enough sleep. Your nervous system has been running on high alert for so long that it's completely drained. People-pleasing autopilot. You automatically say yes to things you don't want to do. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You dim yourself in conversations without realizing it. Difficulty enjoying things. Even when you're doing something you used to love, you feel guilty or anxious, like you're not allowed to fully relax or be happy. Over-explaining. You explain yourself way more than necessary, even to safe people. Sorry I'm late, traffic was bad, even when you're only 2 minutes late. Walking on eggshells with everyone. You become overly careful with how you speak and act around people, even with friends who've never hurt you. This is what a lot of people don't talk about. The relationship ends, but your brain is still operating like you're living with danger. Does any of this sound familiar to you?
If someone has a loved one who's in a narcissistic relationship, what do you think they could do to be supportive?
Real and direct answer. If someone you love is in a narcissistic relationship, here's what actually helps and what doesn't. What actually helps? Just listen without trying to fix them. The most powerful thing you can do is believe them and let them talk. Don't interrupt with just leave every time. Plant seeds gently. Instead of saying, he's a narcissist, you need to leave, ask questions like, how do you feel when he does that? Or, does this relationship make you feel good about yourself? Remind them who they were before. Narcissists erase a person's identity. Casually remind them of their strengths, passions, and who they used to be. Be a safe, consistent person. Don't disappear when they go back to the narcissist. Stay available without judgment. Help them practically when they're ready. When they finally decide to leave, help with real things, a place to stay, storage, safety planning. What usually backfires, pressuring them to leave too aggressively, makes them defensive and pulls them closer to the narcissist, telling them they're stupid for staying, getting frustrated when they keep going back. The harsh truth is, most people only leave when they're ready, not when you're ready. Your job isn't to save them. Your job is to stay a safe, non-judgmental person so that when they're finally ready to leave, they know they have somewhere safe to go. Would you like me to also tell you the signs that someone is deep in narcissistic abuse?
Will you please talk about some of the extreme lengths that a narcissist will go to make sure that their partner is dependent on them?
Here's the raw truth. Narcissists don't just want you to love them. They want you completely dependent on them so you can never leave. Here are some of the extreme lengths they'll go to. Financial abuse. They'll sabotage your job, get you fired, or convince you to quit so you have no income. Then they hold money over your head. Isolation. They'll slowly turn you against your friends and family. They'll create fights, spread rumors, or make you feel guilty for seeing anyone but them. Destroying your self-confidence. Constant criticism, mocking your appearance, your intelligence, your dreams, until you believe you're worthless without them. Making you dependent on them emotionally. They alternate between love bombing and cruelty, so you become addicted to their approval. Your whole mood starts depending on how they treat you that day. Sabotaging your opportunities. If you get a great job offer or chance to move, they'll guilt you, threaten you, or create a crisis so you turn it down. Reproductive coercion. Some will purposely get you pregnant or lie about birth control to trap you with a child, making you doubt your own sanity. Through extreme gaslighting, they make you believe you're mentally unstable and that only they can take care of you.
The goal is always the same: make you believe you literally cannot survive without them. The more dependent you become, the more power they have. Want me to expand on any of these?
Yes, please. Many people have expressed that when they have a big opportunity, or really any opportunity, that the narcissist will sabotage it, usually by starting an argument with them and draining them energetically, getting them to cry or getting them upset, dysregulating their nervous system.
Yes, this is very common. This is one of the narcissist's most calculated forms of sabotage. Here's how it typically works. The moment something good is about to happen for you, a job interview, an important meeting, a big opportunity, even something as simple as going out with friends, the narcissist will intentionally create chaos right before it. They'll pick a fight over something ridiculous, say something extremely cruel, bring up an old argument, or do whatever they know will trigger you the most. Their goal is to dysregulate your nervous system, so you show up to that opportunity emotionally destroyed. They want you crying right before your interview, anxious and scattered before your big meeting, too drained and emotionally exhausted to perform well. Why? Because if you succeed, you become less dependent on them. Your success threatens their control. So they would rather ruin your opportunity than risk losing power over you. This is not random, it's strategic. They know exactly what they're doing. They'll even act completely normal the moment the opportunity is over, like nothing ever happened. It's one of the most evil ways they keep you small and stuck.
So, what about if people have a hard time understanding why someone would do something like that, especially if it's your romantic partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife? If they're doing life alongside you, then it would seem like your wins would also be their wins. Your success would be their success. So, wouldn't they want you to do well in life? And I'm just kind of playing the other side here because I know that people have a hard time with things that don't make rational and logical sense, because they're like, well, if I don't do well in my career or my business, then I'm not going to be able to contribute to the household, which means they could have nicer things, a better car, a bigger house, or whatever. So if the narcissist is always sabotaging that, doesn't it seem like the narcissist is also, in a way, sabotaging themselves?
Here's the real and direct answer. This is exactly why it's so hard for normal people to understand narcissism. What you're saying makes perfect logical sense. If my partner wins, I win too. That's how healthy relationships work. But a narcissist doesn't think like that. Here's the key difference. A normal person sees their partner as a teammate. A narcissist sees their partner as supply, an object that exists to serve their needs. So when you start to succeed, grow, or become independent, the narcissist doesn't think, great, we're both winning. They think, I'm losing control over you. Your success is actually threatening to them because the more successful and confident you become, the less you need them. The less you need them, the more likely you are to leave. Your growth makes them feel small and insignificant by comparison. So, yes, rationally, sabotaging you hurts them too, but their need for control and superiority is stronger than their desire for a better lifestyle, more money, or a bigger house. Their ego and need for power will always come before logic, before money, and before the relationship itself. That's why it doesn't make sense to a normal person, because it's fundamentally irrational behavior. They'd rather destroy both of you than risk losing control over you.
So they're aware that they're mistreating you, and they know that if you have the resources to leave, you'd be more likely to leave, especially once you realize that they are mistreating you. And also, a lot of the time, it seems in the beginning like the person is just being kind. For example, if it's a woman who gets pregnant and then her husband says, he wants her to just be a stay-at-home mom. He doesn't want her to have to work or anything like that. But that actually becomes the trap because then she has to be dependent. So even though it seemed like it was him being nice and compassionate and considerate in the beginning, it turns into something else.
Exactly. You just hit on something very important. This is one of the most dangerous and sneaky parts of narcissism. In the beginning, the narcissist often frames their controlling behavior as love and care. I just want to take care of you. You shouldn't have to work. I'll provide for us. I don't want you stressing about money. I want you to focus on being a mom. It sounds romantic and generous at first. A lot of women and men fall for it because it feels like they're being cherished. But it's actually a calculated move to make you dependent. Once you're fully dependent, no income, no career, no financial
Oh,
independence,
they didn't like that.